Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. So getting straight into the weekly outlook, starting with the DXY on the daily. Nothing's really changed. We've got that WXY, looking for that X2 down to around the 38.2 and then the Z up. Like I mentioned, well, the last couple of weeks, this can be an A, B, C in here, and then we get another one up in here. So if we go down to the H4, you'll see it a little bit clearer, what I'm looking at. We're looking at that A, B, C in here, and we're looking for upside. We do have bullish divergence now. So any buy setup you get, ideally we get a break up here above this top, a correction, and then look for that buy to go and break the top. AU on the daily. If you want to have a look at all this in here, go back through my last videos. You'll see what I was looking at. And then we're looking at this A and A, B, C in here. It's reached 100 fib now, so I'm looking for another one down in here for the A, B, C. On the H4, we lost the bullish bearish divergence, which is a little bit concerning. So as you can see here, you know, we lost that bearish divergence. I was just looking for an A, B, C in here. On the H1, you can see what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a Z up. Again, it's not the best because we still don't have any bearish divergence. I would have liked a larger correction in here and then give us that one up, and for the Z up to give us that bearish divergence, and then, you know, we could have looked for the sell. That didn't happen, so I sort of have to sit on the sideline a little bit and wait for the bearish divergence before we can look for the sell. EU on the daily. Nothing's really changed. Again, we got that WXY, looking for the X2 and then a Z down. We don't have any bullish divergence. H4, we are getting bearish divergence here. Looking at an A, B, C. It hasn't quite got up to that 100 fib, but we are getting that, starting to get that bearish divergence. So it becomes a bit risky to buy. On the H1, you can look for a buy, just to scalp for the Z up. You'll see that we got a bull hidden here. So we're looking at WXY, X2 and a Z up. And you know, so if you do get a bullish setup, you know, you could look for that. But then you'll be looking for, you know, the sell setup. GU on the daily. We've got that WXY, looking for the X2 and a Z down. Like I've mentioned, this can be an A, B, C in here as well, and we get another one down from here. And if we do get another one down in here, this will still be part of this wave Y. On the H4, you can see what I'm looking at. You know, looking at this A, B, C. It's got up to the 100 fib. Again, we do have a bear hidden here. So I was hoping this would go. It didn't go. Instead, it gave us another one up. If we look at the H1, sort of we're looking at this like W, X, Y, X2, and I'll be looking for that Z up. We do have a bull hidden here, so any bullish setup you get, you definitely can look for this buy. So if you get a little flag or a setup on a lower time frames in here, you can look for that buy. You definitely want to be taking half off at the break of that top, and then yeah. And you on the daily, so nothing's really changed. We're looking at that A, B, oh sorry, W, X, Y. Then I'm looking for an A, B, C in here before we get more downside. I'm sort of starting to look at this as a flat. Well, I've been looking at this for a long time as a flat, but yeah, a possible flat in there. Better seen on the H4. So H4, we got that A, B, and we're looking for this C up. We don't have any bearish divergence in here, so it may still continue up a little bit further. Again, on the H1, we excuse me, we don't have any I was looking at this as an A, B, C here. We had that bearish divergence, but that's wrong obviously. So I can remove that. Looking at this larger flat in here, but in here, like, we don't have any bearish divergence in here. So, I mean, you really need to go down to the lower time frames, because this is more than likely on the M15. We'll start to get that bearish divergence, and then we'll be looking for the sell. I'm more sort of more interested in looking for the sells at this stage. Rather, even though, you know, you can buy because we don't have any bearish divergence, but it starts to get risky. We sort of got like 1, 2, 3 up here. I would have liked an A, B, C in here, giving us a crossover on the MACD, and then we can sort of look for a buy. We haven't got any crosses on the MACD, so it makes it hard you really need to wait for the correction. UY on the daily. So we're looking at this WX extended wave Y, looking for the X2 and then the Z up. Again, this may be a flat in here for an A, B, C, and then we get another one up. Again, we don't have any bearish divergence. On the H4, I was looking for, like, we got that Z up. We lost all the bearish divergence, so I was just looking for a correction and more upside. We did get a correction, a larger correction. As an A, I'm looking at this as the B, and we got the C down. The problem here is you can really only it becomes risky on the H4. I sort of am looking at it as an A, B, C, but when we go down to the H1, you'll see that we can't really sell this. Sorry, we can't really buy this. It's extremely risky to buy. We got a lower low here, you know. So extremely risky to buy. So at this stage, I am looking for this C up to that 100 fib, but again, you really need a nice setup to buy. If you do get a nice flag in here, you can look for the buy, but again, you know, you may just get an A, B, C in here and then pull down. So you'll have to monitor that trade if you're looking for the buy at this stage. The Swissy, excuse me, on the daily, we got that WXY. looking for the X2 and a Z up. Like I've mentioned many times in the past, we're looking for a correction a similar size to this over here. So this is going to be very complex, and it's starting to, be very complex. Like I've mentioned many times, this is impulsive, this is impulsive, this is impulsive, this is impulsive, and this is impulsive, like I mentioned last week. So it makes it very difficult. We've got to find that B wave. So now, with more data, I'm looking at this as the A, B, C in here, and then we get an A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C. As a large drawn out correction, like we're looking for on the daily, we're looking for this time factor here in the correction. So that's why I say, this can become very complex and very long drawn out. On the H1, you can only look for sells at this stage. We don't have any bullish divergence. Yeah, we are starting to get a correction in here. So wait for this to be over. Wait for your sell set up, and then you can look for that sell. UCAD on the daily. Now we're looking at that A, B, C. We never got up to this 100 fib, which is the orange one here. We do have bearish divergence, so I'm thinking this is over, and we should go and break the low. I would like it to go and break that low after this long drawn out correction. On the H4, as you can see, I'm looking for at least an A, B, C, but again, this may turn motive, get down to this 161.8 in a like W, X, Y, then we get an X2 and then a Z down. So this may turn quite motive. On the H1, so we're looking at it like a W, X, Y, looking for the X2 in here and a Z down. This may not be over in here. You'd have to go down onto the lower time frames to look for, because this is a little bit bullish in here. Probably get another one up here as a flat, and then we'll get that one down. So I'd be looking for the sells to go and break the low, giving us that bullish divergence, and then more than likely, giving us that bullish divergence, and then be looking for the larger correction and then more downside. GY. So we're just looking at this last section here. We got bearish divergence. We got the Z up on the daily. I was looking for a large correction after the 5 up. We got a very deep pullback in here. So as soon as we got that, I was just looking for a larger flat correction and then more upside. We need a large correction in here, something larger than this and this. We're looking for a larger correction in here, and it is starting to give us that. So I'm looking for an A, B, C, A, B, C, and then an A, B, C. So at this stage, we're looking for this one up in here. So I am looking for upside. It's not looking real good on the H4 though. Would have really liked to see, more of an impulse up and a nice correction to buy. Instead, it's given us all this here. Makes it very difficult to, it makes it risky to buy it. That's what it is, because if we look here, we got a bear hidden here. So, you know, buying this is extremely risky, to say the least. But on the H1, there really isn't anything either. You know, we just got this one wave up here. Then we're looking at an A, B, C in here as a flat. And then we'd be looking for this A, B, C. We're not really, you know, this is more bearish in here. Really need, it's not giving us a price action for a buy setup. So until you get a buy setup, you know, because this can go like this C down in here, you know, this may not be the low, and we get an A, B, C. We really want to see a bullish setup, and then you could look for the buy. Keep your stops really tight, you know, because we do have that possible bear hidden on the H4. EG on the daily. So this is very excuse me, complex. We're looking at an A, B, C. It didn't quite get to that 100 fib, and now we're looking for it to break the low. Yeah, on the H4, we got that Z down. We're looking for this Z down. We got the bullish divergence. So, you know, again, we were looking for more downside, but we already got the 5 down on the H4. So any sort of buy setup, I mean, you probably miss the trades, but if we look on the H1, you can see you can't buy this now because we have all this bearish divergence. You know, this was your flat in here, you know, for an A, B, C. This may still continue up, but it gets very risky to buy this now. And if you have a look, we are getting a little, if I just zoom in here, we are getting a little bearish flag in here, you know. You could look for the sell. You very risky to buy. Like I said, we got that bearish divergence, extremely risky to buy. Sorry, gold on the daily. So like I've excuse me, like I've mentioned many times, we get this this is the time factor for X2 on the weekly. So we're coming very close to that time factor to give us that Z up. As you can see here, I'm looking at an A, B, C, and then we're looking at an A, B, and we're looking for a C up to at least go and break this top here. On the H4, it's risky, extreme, you know, like I've mentioned, we got a W, X, Y, X2, and a Z down. Problem is, we lost all that bullish divergence. So I was just looking for a correction in here, and then another one down. We are getting bear hidden here. So it's extremely risky to buy this at this stage. You know, if you're going to buy it, this was just set up in here to buy. You definitely don't want to start buying up here. It's madness if you're looking to do that. On the H1, we're looking at that W, X, Y, X2, and we got the Z up. It got to both targets in the wave Z. The problem is, I would have liked to see a nice impulse down and a bearish setup to sell, but again, we didn't get that. You know, we're getting some sort of a larger correction, so more than likely there's an A, B, C, and then more upside. But again, we got all this bearish divergence. It's very risky to buy this. Chances are, if you start trying to buy this, you'll lose money. WTI on the daily. So again, we got that Z up on the daily, and we lost all that bearish divergence. So I was just looking for a correction and then more upside. We're getting that correction, but this can become very complex because I'm looking at this as an A, B, C, and then we get an A, B, C, then we get the A, B, C. So this can become quite complex. On the H4, we got that WXY. We started to get this larger correction. So we're looking at some sort of an A, B, C, or WXY, X2, and a Z down in here, and then we get that A, B, C before we get A, B, C. You can buy this. Again, it is quite risky to buy, but you can see how big the corrections are. We got like a WXY. We're looking for an X2 and then a Z up. You have to wait for this correction. You have to wait for the time factor. More than likely, we'll get a bull hidden in here, and we may even have it already. Yeah, I think we do just have the possible bull hidden already. So, you have to wait for, your bull hidden and a bullish setup before you look for the buy. And you're really only scalping the buy because, again, we're only looking for the C up, so I'll probably give something like this and then another one up. And then we'll be looking for the sell setup to go and break the low. Bitcoin on the daily. So we're looking at the A, B, C on the weekly. On the daily, we've got that A, B, C. We got bullish divergence in here. So we're sort of looking for this to go. But instead, like I've mentioned last few weeks, we're starting to get, this is very bearish. I mean, there's nothing bullish about what's happening in here at all. So I don't believe the downside is over yet on the daily. On the H4, pretty much like we was looking for this up here, and we got the bearish divergence. So I was hoping we'd get a sell setup and go and break the low. But like I mentioned, this wasn't looking impulsive, so I was looking for more upside. Not that you could trade it because we already had the bearish divergence, but this wasn't looking, this is looking bullish. And yeah, we did go back up and we did break the top again. Again, you can't, very risky to buy, if you try and buy this, yeah, there's really not much you can do because we can see how corrective all this is. You can see how choppy it is. This is very corrective. It may keep on doing this, but eventually it's going to fall over. We're only looking for sells. You can see all the bearish divergence. Yep, you just have to wait for a sell setup. That's your only option, really, unless you're going to scalp it on lower time frames or something. S&P on the daily. So we're looking at this W, X, Y, X2, and then a Z down. We are getting bear hidden here. So any sell setup that you get, we want to look for the sell. This is something we don't see very often, but We've got an A, B, C. We got all this bearish divergence. As you can see, it might be hard to see, but you can see from here to there, you know, we've had all this bearish divergence, but yet this has gone up past the 161.8. Not the one that I've got drawn here, but yeah, in this, well, A, B, C, this has gone up to the 161.8. So that's unusual to see. But yeah, we're only looking for sells at this stage. You know, you can see on the H1, we're getting a lot of bearish divergence as well, you know, but prices just keeps on going up. So it makes it very difficult when we have this bearish divergence to buy, makes it risky. You know, if you were going to look for a buy, you want a nice correction first, you know, to give it a go. Ideally, we get a nice impulse down, breaking the low, giving us a sell setup. That's a safe trade to take with all the bearish divergence on the H4 and the H1. AU 200 on the daily. So here we're looking at this WXY. We're looking for an X2 and a Z down. We don't have the bear hidden here yet, but that may change. We don't have the bullish divergence, so I am looking for another one down. But again, you know, there's this time factor. We've got to wait for this time factor in the X2 before we look for the sell. H4, you can see what I'm looking at. Nothing's changed since last week. We're looking at WXY up to this 161.8. Well, a price can get up to this 161.8, and then we're looking for an X2, and then the Z up. H1, you can't buy this up here. We need that larger correction. You can see all the bearish divergence, getting some sort of a rising wedge up here. You know, you need to wait for that X2 before you look for the buy again. Looking at the DAX on the daily, we're looking at this A, B, C in the B wave, and then we get that A, B, C. So I am looking for a little bit more upside up to this 100 pip, and then like the A, B, C as a larger correction. On the H4, you can't buy this. You know, we've got the bearish divergence already. So, you know, this was just set up in here, excuse me, to buy. You know, on the H1, we got that W very deep correction, X, Y, X2, and the Z up. We got getting all this bearish divergence. Definitely not something you could trade. You don't want to be buying this at this stage. You need a larger correction, and then you could look for the buys. But with all this bearish divergence here, you definitely can't buy this. It's just way too risky, in my opinion. The FTSE. So we're looking at an A, B, C, and then we're looking at an A, B, C. So we are looking for a little bit more upside. Again, they're all pretty much doing the same thing. You can't buy this. You know, we're getting that. We got the bearish divergence. Extremely risky to buy. You know? Yeah, I'd be waiting for. I'd be waiting for a break. Whenever this happens, look for that. Look for this. Whenever it happens, like this may, you know, this may just keep on going up and up and up. Very, you know, giving deep corrections. and then you'll want to wait for that sell. So I hope you enjoyed the weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share, subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you.